Have you ever been too stressed to look at your bank account or get anxiety thinking about upcoming bills? Well, if that's the case, then this video is for you. Today we will be looking at the 9 money habits keeping you poor. Avoiding these mistakes will help you live a happier, successful, and hopefully a stress-free life. Number 1 is lifestyle inflation. This is a common trap people fall into. The more money you make, the more money you spend. Things like getting a promotion or a new job. You might buy a watch to celebrate or move into a more expensive apartment now that you've got that higher source of income. You will quickly become accustomed to this higher rate of spending and it will become the norm. You won't save as much money, which will be harmful to you in the long run. Number 2 is paying yourself last. What a lot of people do when they get their paycheck is pay their bills. Things like your rent, groceries, phone bills, maybe a gift for someone, a nice pair of shoes for yourself, and if there's any money left over at the end of the month, you might look to save or invest that money. The only issue with this is that at the end of the month, there usually isn't any money left to invest or save. Those who know how to grow and maintain wealth won't do this. Instead of paying themselves last, they'll pay themselves first. As soon as that paycheck comes in, they'll set aside some of that money for themselves and the rest will go to rent and other expenses that they might have. I have always treated paying myself like paying a bill. It's something that I know I need to do at the start of each month, just like you would a phone bill or just like you will an electricity bill, a gas bill, whatever type of expense that you might have. It doesn't need to be a large amount of money. It could be something like 2, 5, or 10% of your paycheck. I think it's a good idea to do this at the start of the month, only because your spending will expand to swallow any available income. It's better to do it at the start, just get it out of the way. The next bad money habit we will be talking about is expensive hobbies. An example I'll be talking about today is shopping. It's always fun to go to shopping centers or have a browse online at some particular sales that might be up, but when you are continually buying wants and not needs, that's when it starts to become an issue. It is important we keep these urges under control. We are constantly being told by advertisers how great it is to buy this new product, how great this new t-shirt is, or this new pair of shoes, or this iPad, or whatever it might be. But what's even greater than that is a good money habit. Instead of expensive hobbies, we want to try and find hobbies with little to no cost. Things like going on a walk, hanging out with your family or friends, reading a book, hanging out at a park playing basketball. I used to just buy a lot of things for the sake of buying them. So now whenever I see an item, I think to myself, is that a want or is that a need? If it's a need, I'll look to get it at the moment. If it's a want, I'll put it on the back of my mind and think about it for some time. Before I decide if I'm going to purchase the item, what I like to do is read a book. It usually takes me around a week to read a book. It just gives some time to reflect and think about whether you actually want this or whether it was just going to be an impulse decision. A lot of the time after I've finished the book, I've decided I don't actually need that item, and look at that, I've just saved $100 on that thing I really didn't need. Number 4 is getting used to bad debt. Have you ever gotten in the habit of paying for everything on your credit card even if you don't have enough savings to pay it off? Well, you're not alone. It seems a lot of people are complacent with their bad debt, buying anything and everything whilst not really having the money to pay it off. Credit cards can be used to your advantage, but this takes a very disciplined person to do so. This is where a lot of people fall into the traps of using credit cards. The credit card companies will make money when you don't pay your card back on time. And to make matters worse, the average interest rate for a credit card is 20% in 2023. A good rule of thumb is if you don't have enough money to pay for something outright in cash, you really shouldn't be using a credit card. The next thing I want to talk about is subscriptions and how we can forget to cancel unwanted subscriptions or be too lazy to cancel them. The $10 to $15 you pay per month for your streaming service might not seem like a lot of money, but after time it will add up. Not cancelling your gym membership is a big one, and it's likely to affect you a lot more than forgetting to cancel a streaming service. Gym memberships can vary in prices per week, some going upwards of $70. It just depends what sort of gym or fitness group you're working with. In Australia, it's estimated $1,200 is wasted on unused subscriptions per year. Imagine what you could do with all that extra money. It's important to keep track of what subscriptions you have, what subscriptions you need, and if you're going to have to cancel some moving forward. This leads into my next point, which is not tracking your spending. When you start to track what you spend your money on, you'll notice things that you didn't need to buy or things you purchase and you might think, geez, why did I buy that? Wealthy people will keep track of their income and expenses. A reason for this is so that they can find areas where they could trim down spending some money. I personally track my expenses daily. What I'd like to do is write everything down in a little journal, and at the end of each week, I'll put it into a big Excel document, and then I can see week on week, month on month, how much I've spent, what I've spent on, and mistakes I might have made throughout the month, and I'll look to make sure I don't make those same mistakes in the next month. Try tracking your spending for the next month or two to see if you have any bad spending habits, and you might be able to get rid of them. The 7th bad money habit I want to talk about is impulse purchases. An impulse purchase is something you buy without planning to do so in advance. Being in line at the petrol station and grabbing something like a chocolate is a good example of an impulse purchase. You didn't have the initial desire to get the product, but after seeing it and waiting in line, you wanted to quickly grab it. Another example is going to a shopping center, just going into a shop for the sake of going there, seeing a cool jacket, pair of shoes, nice top, and just buying it. You didn't have that intention to buy it before, but you bought it then. That's another impulse purchase. Without discipline, it can be hard to control the desire to impulsively buy products or services. It doesn't even need to be something physical that you've seen in a store. It could be something you've seen as a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad. Those algorithms are great at targeting you specifically. We just need to try and control these desires. Easier said than done. Another key point of impulse purchases I wanted to talk about was things like Afterpay or buy now, pay later. What this involves is a company giving you a loan to buy something that you can pay back at a later date. An advantage of buy now, pay later is that you can get a product or service even if you don't have the cash on the day to do so. A negative of buy now, pay later is the interest rates, which in some cases can be up to 20 to 25% of the original product's purchase price. Now, in most cases, this interest rate only occurs if you don't make your payments back on time to the companies. I think using Afterpay consistently is a bad habit getting into. Going out for takeaway dinner, buying the new video game, something that's not a necessity, it can be a pretty slippery slope. It has a high potential to increase your expenses if you don't pay these loans back on time. It can be better to avoid using these services overall if you don't have the cash outright to pay for them as well. The next bad money habit we will discuss is not saving for your future. It is estimated that over 61% of Americans and 50% of Australians are living paycheck to paycheck. To ensure you have good money habits, you want to try and plan out your expenses in advance. This will also help with your impulse purchases. It's a great idea to have a safety net of cash in your bank account as well. An amount that where if you were to lose your job or needed to pay rent for a few months or there was an emergency, you would be fine. 3 to 4 months of your income is usually a good starting point. It's just some money to help you get back on your feet if something happens and a good safety net. As soon as you get paid, look to transfer 5 or 10% of your money into a savings account. Try and put it in an account with a high compounding interest rate, then you're going to earn additional money just by letting your cash sit there. The final money habit that might be keeping you poor is only having one source of income. In today's society, more than ever, it's vital that you try and have a second source of income to secure your future. Once you have your safety net set up that we spoke about in the last point, now it's time to start looking at a second way to make some more money. Most jobs are only going to make you money while you're sitting there working 9 to 5, 8 hours a day. We want to try and do something that's going to earn you money while you're sleeping. The easiest way to do this is to invest your money. Almost any company or business can be invested in, but people like to stick with the S&P 500 just because of how simple it is. It's important that we diversify our investments and not put them all in the same area. You might receive a higher profit by putting all of your investments in one area, but that also means you might receive a higher loss. You can look to have safe investments with a low return on profit or high risk investments with a higher return on profit. Another source of income is to create a YouTube channel. Here you can make money from ads, sponsors, or any products you want to sell or advertise on your YouTube channel. You could become a coach or a tutor, sell some digital products, or write a book. Luckily with the internet, it's easier than ever to make money. The most important thing that you can invest in is yourself. And as the saying goes, the best time to invest was 20 years ago. The second best time was today. I hope you guys all really enjoyed this video. It's my first one. If you like it, I'm happy to make more content like this in the future. Thanks and have a great day.